Hey, Internet, Eric here. And as you can see, I am not here alone. This interview was a long time coming, and it actually
Yes,
has this little
definitely.
special place in my heart. Um, the reason why I started doing interviews is I started getting out of my social anxiety bubble and going to local independent wrestling. And I met a wrestler named Gavin Alexander, who I became very good friends with. And he kept bugging me and bugging me and bugging me to get off my butt to start doing interviews because he wanted to be the first one. And we became friends. And it's nice that after 20 something episodes, we've gone full circle. I have his son here, the Bluegrass Butcher, Waylon Alexander. Waylon,
How
thank
you
you
doing,
for
Eric?
coming. Thank you for coming here and giving me some time out of your busy life to just shoot the shit, talk your pops, and talk some wrestling.
How you doing, Eric?
I'm doing good, man. How are you?
I'm amazing.
Yeah. Like I said in the intro, I got to know you through your dad, sadly through his passing, but we're not going to talk about the sad stuff. We're going to talk about the good stuff. And I interviewed him September 2023, and I believe you were in the room when he was doing it, and that's how I someone came to know of you because he was talking to you, the usual pomp saying, "Shut up, I'm doing an interview" type of thing that
Yeah, I was in the room.
that dads were doing. And at that time, he was telling me that he was starting to train you to be a professional wrestler. And it's been okay, that was September, so it's almost been 3 years. When did you do you remember when you officially started or professional wrestling?
3 years ago at Hog Rock.
Yeah. Was it your dad who trained you, or was it any other people?
It was my dad. Sam Knight had a hand in it. James Geen had a hand in it. Robbie McGann had a hand in it. The Violent Society as a whole had a hand in it.
Now, I love your dad to death, but he was an old school guy, and I knew he was not going
Tracy Smothers.
exactly. He told us a good story about how he met Tracy and became good buds with him. Called him Streets, and
I I was actually mini streets.
were you really? I wanted to know, like, with your dad, like being old school, he wasn't gonna go easy on anybody he would help get into the business. Was that how he was with you, or was he extra hard? Was he fair? How do you think he was teaching you the bumps and how to live the life and how good and bad it could be? Like any warnings, anything like that with
From the age of 2, he didn't take it easy on me. He was rough.
mhm. How
From
so?
the age of 2, he made me study. He
Mhm.
made me, and then when I first got into the wrestling ring, he punched me.
Mhm.
He let me know, "Hey kid, you're in my ring."
Mhm. When he was showing you that, did you ever have second thoughts like, I want to follow in my dad's footsteps, and even his dad or his stepdad as well. So you're a third generation. Did you ever think like, nah, this isn't for me, or did you
Actually,
fall in love with it right away?
actually, here as of recently, I've had doubts.
Mm-hmm. And why is that?
Me and you have talked about it. I've
Mm-hmm.
had doubts
Yeah.
because I've seen how messed up the business is. I've seen how cruel it was to my dad.
Mm-hmm.
And, that's why I wear this hammer today, is because it was my dad's necklace.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm keeping going because it was my dad's legacy.
Yeah.
I want to follow in my dad's path, but I want to do it my way.
Yeah. I wouldn't expect him to want it to be any different. Like, there were times when me, like, I'll put up a picture of your pops right now. There were times when him and I would just be bored and we would just shoot the shit, on Facebook Messenger and stuff like that. And what I loved about Gavin, there was Gavin and then there was Larry. And
Right.
Larry could have been an asshole too, but I'll say this. We always say when he's off the clock, he was a lot different. And one of my favorite memories, I'll say, is when he actually met my daughter and my wife. It was at a WCPW show, and he's typical Gavin Alexander. You know what I mean? You know, he hates everybody. He's cussing everybody out. The usual stuff. Because that's what made me fall in love with your dad. Is he was a good shit talker, which is missed nowadays. You know, because we got to be kid friendly and stuff. And we were driving away, and he called me up, and he says, "Where are you at?" I said, "Well, we're going home." You know what I mean? He's like, "Well, I got something for you and your kid." So we swung around. We were only like 5 minutes away, and he gave me a Funko Pop that was made of him, and he gave that to my daughter. And he was just, you know, again, he's like this big, burly, mean man in between the ropes. But when he met my daughter, he was just a big teddy bear. He's a sweetheart. He treated her well, treated her like she was an adult. And then he says, "Well, where's your wife at?" I said, "Oh, my wife's name's Rachel. She's just down at the car over there. She didn't want to impose since she didn't know who she's like." He's like, "No, screw that. I want to meet Rachel." So he went, and they BS'd. And that's what I liked about him and that's what I like about getting to know independent wrestlers like your dad and the other people I've interviewed, and yourself, is in the ropes is one thing, but we're all just regular people outside when we're off the clocks. And that's what I liked about your dad. Is there anything, because him and I have shared a lot, because he had his struggles towards the end, you know, with the incident that happened to him. We won't get into it with his leg. You know what I'm talking about. And what's one thing that people don't know about Larry Jennings? We knew about Gavin. We knew how he would, you know, insult your mom, slap your dad, and then spit in your face. But what's one thing that we wouldn't know about Larry Jennings that you could share it to us?
My dad may have been an asshole inside the ring, but he was a nice, fun-loving man, family man outside of that ring.
Yeah. That's one thing I always noticed. He was always sharing pictures of you, and he was just talking about how he loved everybody in his life. And he was, in my opinion, which I see a little bit in you, is he was kind of always making sure everybody got what they needed over him. Like he wanted to make sure he got, you know, like his pay and stuff like that, but he always looked out for everyone else too. And that's one good thing that I think people maybe not know, because he was very private. You know, it took a while for him to even let me in. You know what I mean? So he was a good dude. And when he sadly passed, you know, you and I, we talked on the phone a few times, and you and I have been kind of budding up that little friendship of ours, you know, through him. So I hate to say through that tragedy, some good has happened between you and I. So that's one way, at least I can say, to look at it.
Right.
So first match, how are the nerves going through your body? How are you feeling? Were you like getting ready to, right before you walk through the curtain, were you still ready to do it? Or you still had that little bits of, I don't want to embarrass my pops, but I don't know if I can do it. Did you have those butterflies, or were you just full force?
Butterflies.
How'd you get through it?
I was like, you know what? I'm an Alexander. I got this. Yeah. And then that voice in the back of my head was my dad saying, "Kid, if you don't do this, I'm gonna whoop that ass."
Was he with you for your first match? I know he was there for a battle royal, I think.
He was at Hog Rock with my first match. It was me and him, 5 minutes.
Yep. And everything's done when you get behind the curtain. What goes on between the two of you after everything is said and done?
My dad and me and Biff Byford actually shared a hug.
That's awesome. And you know what? I'll say this. I know that he was proud that you were getting into the business. And how does that make you feel, you know, knowing that he is old school? He is going to be hard on you. He's very, I don't want to say if he was judgmental, but you know what? He had a way of thinking when it comes to pro wrestling. Like he didn't really like a lot of what was going on modern at the time. You know what I mean? He was 80s and 90s old school. Tracy Smothers, Mickie Knuckles, the mean asshole type of people. But he was proud that you were still getting into the business. How did that make you feel that he may have been different on camera, but like you could tell behind the scenes he was proud of you? Was that a motivator too to keep this
Yeah.
going?
Yes.
Yeah.
Speaking of Mickie Knuckles, I have a wonderful story for you.
Yeah, please do. I had her written down. I got a few names that we're going to talk about. Please.
We were actually at a swag show, Huntington, Tennessee. The show before, they were chanting 1, 2, 3, F the stupid referee. Because I was messing up a match. I was new to reffing, all that.
Oh, you were a referee?
Yes, at one point I was a referee.
Okay.
Because I was, trying to break into the business and everything else, and and I was slow. Mickie told me fast count for your dad, slow count for me.
Right.
So I was fast counting for dad, slow counting for Mickie. She got tired of my BS and decided to drop me and just start kneeing me in the head until this other referee comes out, and she tried to pin my dad.
Yeah.
And they rang the bell and they pointed at Mickie and they're like, "And your winner is Gavin Alexander." She got pissed.
That's actually quite cool. I had no idea that you started as a ref. I really had. So here's a question, because I'm going to be interviewing a referee in a couple of weeks. To my knowledge, she's never wrestled. Was that something like maybe your dad said you got to learn to be a referee first? Or was that just because that was the opportunity that was offered to you before being a wrestler?
I had wrestled one match before, but it was an opportunity just to do it because I wanted to do it that night. So I had a striped shirt and I'm like, hey, I can help. So I'm like, hey, they need a referee. I'm game. So there I was.
Was that the only time you ref, or did you continue doing it?
No, I continued to referee until I ran into Robbie McCann and James Geen at Foundry Pro Wrestling, and then I've wrestled from there. I've wrestled Tyler Bodine and I've wrestled a lot of people.
Do you prefer wrestling over refereeing?
Yes.
What was one thing that people might not understand, though, but before we get more into wrestling, I want to stay on the referee stuff for a second, is they don't understand how important the referee is when it comes to setting up a match. They have to know certain spots, they have to know the finish and stuff like that. We talked about how you had the nerves and the butterflies before your very first match. Does it feel different being a referee? Because when you're the wrestler, it's you and your opponent and the referee. Was it different because when you're a referee, the match continues until you hit that third slap? Did you ever have nerves like you might screw up and hit 1, 2, 3 a little early, or with the spot type of thing? Maybe it was the finish and you accidentally just hit 2 and expected a kick out. Did you ever have any nerves like that? Because like I said, they don't realize how important the referee is to a match as well as the wrestlers.
How Dad always told me is if you hit that 3 early, oh well. Okay. They should have kicked out. They should have known, hey, kick out at, he's about to hit that 3, hit that kick out.
Yeah. Did you ever have an incident like that where it didn't go the way you wanted to, and then you, as a referee, or did everything kind of go smoothly?
No, everything's went smoothly.
Okay. How did you transfer out of just doing a referee? Because you said you'd wrestled before. You wrestled one match, then you helped as a ref. How did you transition into wrestling? Did you think, well, this is what I want to do. I don't want to be a ref. Would you ever consider going back to refereeing because, give your body a break type of thing?
No,
No, no
no,
interest in going back to being a ref.
no.
You're pretty much done with that.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you enjoy being a referee though when you were one?
When I was one, I enjoyed it, but it ain't my cup of tea.
Ain't your thing. Okay. I want to know, being trained by your dad. What was it, just bumps? Did he train you on promos? Because he was a natural BSer. You know what I mean? That's what I liked about him. Everything with him, you could tell, was off the top of his head. Did he kind of help you with talking in front of a camera, or did he say that's your own thing type of deal?
He basically told me that's your own thing, kid. Learn on your own.
Mm-hmm.
He taught me the bumps. He taught him and Robbie, and I've learned as I've went.
Okay.
Matches and training and stuff like that, I've learned as I've went.
Mm-hmm. Do you have what's one of the biggest, I guess you would say, because you said you learned as you went, which one of the biggest, not necessarily pieces of advice, but what's one big thing that you've learned as you've gone being a professional wrestler that you've applied to what you do now?
One thing that I've learned, shoot, selling is important,
Mm-hmm.
and most definitely you need to sell.
Yeah. And for anyone who's watching or listening who isn't a professional wrestling fan, could you explain what selling is to them?
If they poke you in your eyes, go like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Because if you don't sell properly, you make you look bad, but you also make your opponent look bad as well. You make,
Exactly.
like, their move to you isn't effective, because you still got to make it, the story flow, and there's got to be this air of believability to it. And like you said, if you don't sell, you kind of lose them. It's like a magic trick. You know what
Exactly.
I mean? We got a question up here from Brooke Lovins. How did you come up
Hi,
with?
wife.
Oh, I see how it is. Well, welcome her. I'll welcome her to the show. How did you come up with your name, the Bluegrass Butcher, if you don't mind me asking?
How I actually came up with that is, since I moved to Kentucky,
Mm-hmm.
is one day, since I am a Kentuckian,
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to own my own butcher shop one day.
Okay.
So I came up with the Bluegrass Butcher, and it's a horror-based character.
Mm-hmm.
So therefore, I am the Bluegrass Butcher, Waylon Alexander.
Yeah, and it was interesting because for a while you were just, the bastard son, Waylon Alexander, the tribute to your dad when he was still active. And then just out of the blue, because I know there were times when, like, you'd be active, then you'd stop, then you'd be active, and then you came back full force as this Bluegrass Butcher character. And I'm thinking to myself, was this like a rebirth for you? You get that motivation back? Because I know you have your ups and downs. That it's no secret. You have your ups and downs, but you looked revitalized because now you're posting more on social media. With these videos and these pictures of you in the butcher shop, or you with the, I always think of, like Leatherface with the apron, but you got, the machete or whatever. Was this kind of like a rebirth for you? You got that passion back?
This was definitely a rebirth for me.
Yeah. What caused it, man? Because I know for a long time, because we've chatted offline, you've thought about being done. What was it that kicked you in the butt and be like, man, I'm still going? And I mean, not, I know that's more than just your father. There's got to be something in you that motivated you. What was it, dude?
I have a son out there.
Mm-hmm.
I have a son and multiple other kids out there. I gotta leave a legacy behind for them, not only for me,
Mm-hmm.
but I gotta live life for them.
Mm-hmm.
And for that woman in there, you know.
Yeah. I know how I know, like I said, I know how important she means to you, which is great. And again, it's like I always tell my daughter who's getting into wrestling, the bad ones on the screen or in the ring are usually the nicest ones off the clock. And that again, I don't know you as well as I knew your pops, but I could tell from what I do know is family's big with you, and you've gotten that from him. So I'm glad that even though you're continuing this, that family's the number one thing.
And that's why after, everything's said and done, I just want them to be able to be proud of me.
I'm pretty sure they will be, dude. I can tell because you have your, how do I say this? Your priorities in check. Because I knew the reason why you were thinking, because you're still wrestling, and I knew you were thinking of throwing in the towel a couple weeks ago. You messaged me, we were going to announce that you're going to be done because of them, but you've got your priorities in check, and I could tell right away that they're the most important things to you. So I don't think this is just me. I'm just some 40-year-old man that, you and I just know each other really online. So, but my words of wisdom to you is I think you really don't have to worry about them and your legacy. I think they know already. So that's just me to you, dude. So
I mean, I after that show, I am going to take a hiatus.
Right.
But, that's only till I get vehicleized and everything else.
Yeah. Yeah. A hiatus isn't the end.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And I seen your comment up there, love. Thank you.
Let's get into it. We're talking about the show coming up 1 week from tonight.
1 week from tonight, the Violence Society attacks Jeffersonville, Indiana.
Yeah. Second annual Larry Jennings Fighting Spirit Open Invitational, Jeffersonville, Indiana. All right, Waylon, this is your chance. You said selling is important, brother. I want you to sell this show to people watching and listening.
This show actually started right after my dad died.
Mm-hmm.
Last year, this month, on the 15th of this year, or last year of the 15th of this month, was the first annual.
Right.
It's an annual show we do for the fighting spirit of my dad.
Right.
We know how important wrestling was to him. Come on down, see the great action of the Violence Society. James Geen, Robbie McCann will be there. And let's see who our mystery opponents are, whoever you are. Because honestly, I'm just here to punch whoever y'all are in your faces.
You know what? I'm not gonna lie. That really reminded me of your dad. Not the selling part, but just always ending with, you know what? I'm just gonna have to be there to fucking fight you. So I loved it. Tickets, I believe, are still available. One thing, you know what? We were gonna throw some names out. I'm gonna ask you about somebody that I know nothing about, but he is the one that's really promoting this. Alexander Knuckles. Can you give me just a little tidbit on who he is? Because I'm just interested because it's always on his profile. He's the one that's always sharing stuff concerning like your dad, like in t-shirts and this type of
yes, AZK, the good brother.
Yeah, can you give me some tidbits on him? Because I honestly am not gonna lie, I don't know really anything about him, but I see his name out there all the time with you.
AZK is definitely a good brother.
Mm-hmm.
You know, he is one half of I Got Your Six.
Okay.
He is TCW's heavyweight champion,
Mm-hmm.
and he is a hard-hitting match man. And I guess you'll just have to interview him for yourself.
I might actually do some research and maybe, have you get my foot in the door that way. I might do that.
I got you.
Have you ever taken him on in the ring or dealt with him professionally, or has it just been strictly putting shows together?
Just business.
Just business? Okay.
I hope one day I get to wrestle him, though.
Yeah, I'm gonna put his name down there because, like I said, I'm really into independent wrestling right now. I haven't watched WWE. I couldn't tell you in how long. I don't give
I
a crap.
watch AEW. I don't watch WWE.
Hmm. I've watched some AEW. I don't get why people are complaining about it. I think it's just fine, in my opinion. I don't know what everyone's complaining. I think it's just if you're not. A lot of people think if you're not WWE, you're awful, which is not
But
true.
I'm more TNA, ROH, and
Mhm. Yeah,
Japan, and
yeah. That's what I love about indie wrestling is this is what I try to tell people who aren't wrestling fans. Go to the shows. It's a lot different watching it on TV and being there in person. It's more personable. And that's how I came to know your dad is he would see us, a few times. He recognized me, recognized my daughter. He came out with a mask one time and threw it my way, and my daughter got to hold on to it while he was fighting that night. And um it's a really cool experience. Like I always tell people, I
was
said,
it the Ouija board mask?
I'm trying to remember. It was a tag team match, and he came out. The mask was white. I think it had horns.
His devil's mask.
Yeah, yeah. I think he said it was his brother's. I don't remember, but yeah, it was white, and he and my daughter was holding it up the whole time because she knew who Gavin was. Because
Mhm.
she's seen the interview, and that's what I tell people about independent wrestling. Independent wrestlers like yourself. The smaller crowds, I think, are more personable, more fun. You know what I mean?
Right.
Because you wrestlers, you can see who's out there and you can see who comes back to the next show and you show your appreciation. So I really hope this dedication show to your dad has a big turnout because I keep telling people support your local indie feds, man. Without you, there is no them. And independent wrestling promoters, wrestlers, ring crew, they all understand that about how it is, how important it is. So,
I've
uh,
been ring crew. I've been a referee. I've been a wrestler.
yeah. One thing his name was brought up, and you said you had some stories. Your little streets. Let's talk about share me a Tracy Smothers story. Where
Yes, Tracy.
share me a
He
Tracy
was
story.
actually one of the first ones to actually let me referee a seminar.
Really? How did that work? Just him being friends with your dad, or
No, he was actually given a seminar that dad was taking, and I was freaking sitting there just minding my business, and he's like, "Hey, kid, come here."
well, really? Did he not
And
know
I'm
that you
like,
were?
"Yeah."
Did he not know who you were? He didn't know who your dad or that
I
was
think he knew who I was. I just didn't know who. At the time, I didn't really know who he was.
okay.
And I'm like, "Yes, sir." And then he's like, "Have you ever refereed a match?" And I'm like, "No, sir, I haven't." He's like, "Okay, here's what I need you to do. Do you know how it counts to three?" And I'm like, "Yes, sir." He's like, "Do you know how to check a person like cops do?"
Hmm.
And I'm like, "Yes, sir, I do." And he's like, Then you'll do fine." So I checked my dad, I checked his opponent, everything else. I rang the bell. Because I've been watching wrestling since I was 2 years old.
Okay.
Because I've been hitting the roads with dad since I was 2 years old.
Mm-hmm.
And so I rang the bell. I've let them work. And then when it came time, I hit the mat, counted the three, rang the bell, and then called it a day.
And you said you didn't know how big of a name Tracy was at the time. And one thing I talked to your pops about was I wish more people knew about Tracy other than just his stuff in ECW with the FBI, the comedy wrestling. I wish they would go back and watch his stuff from IWA Mid South when he's trying to start riots with the fans. Because to any people who just know the comedy stuff, or even like the Freddie Joe Floyd bullcrap that he had in WWF for a while, that's not Tracy Smothers. Tracy Smothers
Oh, I know.
was a Southern boy who liked to fight, and he loved to antagonize the crowd. He loved to get under their skin and
He
have them
liked
through.
to get heat.
Yes, he loved it, and every time, like that's what one thing that makes me again think of your dad. Old school guys that want to, like, they live the villain role. You know what I mean? They want you to hate them because that is their job. And that's one thing your dad always said. He says, if you end up cussing me out, I did my job. And that's what Tracy was.
Right.
With all that behind the scenes, or excuse me, with all that, I said about Tracy, how was he behind the scenes? Completely different? Was he like was he a softy? Was he quiet?
He was a very great man.
Yeah. How so?
He actually, when I was wanting to be a football player in high school,
Okay.
and this is another story that I'll never forget.
Yeah, please share.
When I wanted to be a football player for high school, right?
Mm-hmm.
The gentlemen who were training would come to the gym early when they had the School of Smothers there in Lincoln, Illinois.
Mm-hmm.
I would go up there with my dad and we'd flip tires. He'd have me doing battle ropes. He'd have me walking, or he'd have me running around the park with them and everything else, just getting in shape. And
Mm-hmm.
he's like, "You want to be a football player, right, kid? You got to be buff."
Yeah. He just, like I said, because the
Like,
story.
I looked at him as a grandpa.
Really, you were you felt that close to him.
Yeah.
That's what, again, I keep going to the behind the scenes stuff, because the IWA Mid South and JCW, all that stuff, he's the meanest, biggest asshole there is. But your dad broke down talking about him because he's since passed. I've read some chapters in Mickey Knuckles' book about Tracy, and he just seemed like one of those loyal friends, like that good dude who just kept to himself. But when the camera was on, he didn't want to mess with them, type of thing.
He was
So
he was a good dude.
yeah, and that's what I like learning about, like a lot of these old schoolers. Your wifey has another question. What's one of your favorite memories of you and your dad in the business together?
Hog Rock.
Okay, can you explain that?
The Battle Royal.
Yeah.
5 minutes. I busted out moves that my dad didn't even think I knew.
Yeah.
I gave my dad the stink face, a back fist. Mind you, I had just eaten Taco Bell the night before.
Oh, yeah. Well, I'm sure you were grounded after that battle royal, weren't you? He was so like I said, I keep going back to it, dude. He was so proud of you. Like, he would always be sending me clips of you. So just like we're keeping this positive. You know what I mean? But just know how proud he was of you, dude. I'm you know, not I'm talking to the person behind Waylon. You know what I mean? You know,
Yeah,
we're gonna keep the shoot. We're gonna keep the kayfabe names and everything for you, but the person behind Waylon Alexander, he was proud of you. So
I know.
in your moments of doubt and stuff like that, just know that, and that's from me. So I
And
just
I
want
can definitely tell you something else, just in case he's watching. He definitely loved his wife.
he was big. I know that he was a big family man, and that was always his main concern was his family when it wasn't wrestling.
Because I just talked to my mama and she said she might be on here, so
Okay, well,
I wanted to give my mama a shout out because she's another reason why I kind of kept going.
well, if she's watching now or if she watches the replay, much love to her as well. You know, it like I said, like I've always said, it was a big loss. Obviously, I only met him in person a couple times, but
Right.
we kept the friendship going through Facebook Messenger. There are times when he would have his moments of doubts. He would call me up just to shoot the shit. Or one time, his car threw a tire at like midnight, and he's like, "Dude, I'm bored. I figured I'd call you," type of thing. You know, that's the type of friendship he had. He was a good dude, and yeah, there's only happy memories for me now, and I hope that's how it works for you and your mom and everyone that knew and loved him. So that's my motivation. That's also some advice to you as well on those days you have.
I know I'm definitely going to get counseling because of
Mm-hmm.
the loss and everything.
Mm-hmm. And then that's what I told him. You know, with his incident, like I said, we're not going to get into. Uh, it doesn't make you any less of a man because again, he was old school, stubborn asshole. Sometimes I love him to death, but
Right.
he was, and then he realized he needed. There's nothing wrong with it. So I'm glad you've made that decision. You know that it's something that you should at least consider. So good on you, dude. Proud of you for that.
You
Uh,
know, at first I didn't want to go get counseling, but because of that woman in there and because of my multiple others,
mhm.
I've realized, hey, I can't keep bottling it up.
Bro, I'll tell you that I'll tell you the thing. Like I said, this is all freeform shoot style stuff. I've got my own problems too, so I get it. I lost my father. God, 2021. It screwed me up big time, and I'm now thinking of going and getting myself some help because we can't keep it bottled up. You know, we can't because family's important to you. It's important to your dad. It's important to me. If we're not here, what's going to happen to them?
Exactly.
So we got to take care of ourselves. So I'll just share that little bit of tidbit on me. I'm going to get my help. So, but I am like legit proud of you that you have decided that you need to at least look into it, and I hope it goes well for you.
Well, Eric, if you ever need me, you call me.
I will. So, all right. Now that that stuff out of the way. Another person that you threw a name out to me that you had a story of or meeting was Seth Rollins.
Seth.
Can you give an explanation on or a story about that? I'm interested in the way you chuckled when I put his name up there. Why is that?
Tyler Black.
Yes, IWA Mid South days. I remember him from that name.
Okay, so me and my dad were actually in Iowa when this happened.
Mm-hmm.
There were these two guys that grabbed me right after a match. I ran back to my dad, told him I had to really, really use the bathroom.
Okay.
That was beyond a lie. I was scared out of my mind, didn't know what I was doing
Mm-hmm.
because I wasn't prepared for two men to lay hands on me.
Right.
So I
Uh,
come out of the
well,
bathroom.
who were these men? Were they workers? Were they fans?
They
Strangers?
they were workers.
Okay.
Coach Haven and I forget the other guy's name.
Okay.
But freaking, I come out of the bathroom. Tyler Black walks up to my dad and is like, "Hey, Gavin, that your kid?"
Mm-hmm.
He's like, "Yeah, Tyler." He's like, "You mind if I walk?" He walks out with me.
No shit.
So I got to walk out with Tyler Black.
That's cool. Did you know who he was as a wrestler at that time, or did you just think he was just a regular guy that worked with Dad?
I just thought he was a regular guy that worked with Dad, but then years later, Dad got me a Shield freaking picture, and I'm like, holy crap.
How did that feel like when you started getting into, like, the current product growing up, and you realize, holy shit, that's the guy I walked down to the ring? How did that hit you? Did you have a big, like, smile on your face when you see him on screen and stuff like that?
My jaw dropped.
Yeah. And again, that's another thing that, again, we see these assholes on TV, but they seem like the most loyal guys behind the scenes, like Tracy, Mickie, like your dad. Seth is the same way. People can say what they want about, Ian Rotten, and sometimes rightfully so. But Seth realized where he wouldn't be where he is if Ian didn't give him the shot. So he sometimes gives him tickets to Raw and stuff like that. So it's interesting seeing, like, and it's kind of like a nice feeling to see how loyal some people are when they don't have to, because where Seth is now, he doesn't have to
Mm-hmm.
give two shits about anybody, but he still does things like that. So, but that's really cool that
Right.
he sent you that. That's really neat. Uh we have someone in I don't know, Deity Crafted says, "Hey Cuzzo, I'm at a wrestling show, but I'll watch the playback later. Love you." I don't know who Deity Crafted would be.
I know who it is. Hi, Allie.
Okay, that's all. Yeah, the replay is here. It never goes anywhere. Um, is there anything else you want to talk about concerning your father? Like I said, here's one thing. What was it like, life on the road with Dad? Because if you said you've been riding with him since basically the age of 2, what was it like? Like, did you ever think of, like, this is the life for me? On the weekends, a different town all the time, sometimes hotel rooms. Like, you're a big family guy. Life away from the family on weekends. There are
Life
times.
on. I enjoyed the life away from the siblings.
Okay. Okay. How does that transfer? Because, like we said, we know your family is your motivation. You've got anything could happen on these weekends. You know what I mean? You're in Kentucky now, but you got to drive where you got to you get to where you got to get to for the tribute show.
Jeffersonville, Indiana.
Jesse, what keeps you motivated? Because there's a lot of crazy fuckers on the road. Anything can happen. You're taking the bumps. You're not in your own bed. Not counting your family. Not counting, your dad and wanting to make him proud. Because I know he's watching. I believe that. I believe my own dad's watching me.
Mm-hmm.
What keeps you motivated? Can't say family. What keeps you motivated to still do this? Because I know your hiatus notwithstanding, you're coming back. What keeps you doing it? What keeps the Bluegrass Butcher, Waylon Alexander, determined to keep doing this? The bumps, the
My love
bruises,
for the business.
yeah,
My love for the business.
yeah. Is that, and that's just, it's just an undying. Is it because you've been a fan since 2 years old, or is it because you've actually finally gotten into? Because you haven't been wrestling professionally for a long time. Because I know it was like within the last 2-3 years, right? For the most part, when you had your first match.
It's because I've been a fan for such a long time.
Mm-hmm.
And then me growing up and finally being able to find myself in this business.
Mm-hmm.
You see what I'm saying?
Yeah. When did you? What was that moment where you actually found yourself and you're like, this is the life for me? Was it, I mean, are we going to go back to that battle royal with your dad? That's when you're like, this is for me? Or did it take a longer time than that?
It took a longer time.
Yeah.
It actually took me talking to Uncle Biff,
Mm-hmm.
Biff Byford.
And you just finally decided, like, this is the life for me. This is worth it. It's worth the bumps, the bruises, the gas money, perhaps not making that much pay. It's still worth it.
Because he's like, hey, kid, I know you've taken a year off,
Mm-hmm.
but I'd like to, help you. Because I took a year off.
Right.
You know this.
Yes, I do.
Because of transportation and my dad dying
Right.
and everything. I had to get mentally okay before anything else.
Mm-hmm. Because again, that's what I tell people is they don't realize there's a lot more to it than just going into the ring and putting on a show. You gotta know your spots because you're responsible for your opponent's safety. They're responsible for your safety.
Exactly.
Accidents happen, but you got to be. If you're not mentally there, 1 millisecond off, someone gets hurt. So I'm glad you realized you had to take that time off, and that's why when you're taking this hiatus, well, when you're taking the time off after your dad's tribute show, I'm glad you said it's a hiatus because you know better. So that's good for you. Patrick is here in the chat, and Patrick is also one of the guys other than your dad that got me interviewing people because he does it on his channel. He says your dad was really made an impression on him.
I'm really glad he made an impression on you, Patrick. I'd love to do a podcast with you as well, sir.
Well, I can forward your Facebook profile to Patrick. He is getting into interviewing athletes and professional wrestling. He's interviewed a couple because of me, and I'd love to introduce him into the world because it is an interesting world to say the least. You know what I mean? It is. A lot of people see the spectacle, the Barnum and Bailey, circus stuff of the WWE. But when you get to the independent stuff, it's a whole nother thing. You got to worry about, will this go right? Will that go right? No shows, cancellations, stuff like that. It's a lot of DIY stuff, and a lot of things go into putting the product together. So, and Patrick, what I love about him is he's starting to realize that as well with what you guys do to your bodies.
Right.
So I'm definitely going to hook you guys up. Well, Waylon, I always end these interviews with 2 specific questions.
Yes, sir.
Question number 1, let's just say you got the house to yourself. I heard some dogs. Let's say the dogs are gone. Wifey's gone. House is to yourself. You're not feeling hurt, bumps or bruises, no shows. What does the Bluegrass Butcher, Waylon Alexander, do to relax for a weekend? No wrong answers. What puts you in your Zen mood? What do you do to relax, man?
Turn on some rock music.
Give an example of rock music. What would be the first band you would go to play to relax and chill?
Slipknot.
Really? Okay.
Slipknot, AC/DC, Ozzy.
ACD. I still love ACDC.
Let's see, Guns N' Roses.
They're my number 1, dude. They're my number 1.
Misfits.
I know your dad was a big Misfit fan. Nice. Very nice tattoo. Awesome.
Got that for my dad, actually.
What would you do after the music? What else do you do to relax and find getting your Zen mode?
Sit here and make some TikToks, probably play me some video games, cook me some dinner.
Okay. Just down to earth, regular, easygoing stuff, huh?
Exactly.
Well, you said make yourself some dinner. This isn't the final question I'm going to ask is, we never know when we're going to be gone from this earth. Waylon, if you knew you were going to go tomorrow, with no limits, what would the Bluegrass Butcher Waylon Alexander's final meal be? Now, your dad gave out this big fucking smorgasbord of what he was going to have. You've seen the interview. Dessert. You know what dessert was. We will leave that alone.
I actually watched it today.
So, he had this whole fucking 20-minute answer. But I've also had friends say they'd be happy with, Madman Pondo said he'd be happy with like a Diet Coke and stovetop stuffing. So there is no wrong answer, nothing too simple, no limits. What would Waylon Alexander's last meal be? No wrong answer.
Me, I'd like I'd like a ribeye steak.
How's it cooked?
Medium rare.
That a boy. Okay.
Some mashed potatoes, extra cheesy.
Mm-hmm.
Some green beans, some stovetop stuffing.
That a boy.
Some cheesecake.
What kind?
Cherry.
Cherry. Okay.
Some fried Oreos.
Oh, gee. Wow. I haven't had those in forever. Those are fucking good. I love those.
And for a special one, if you know, you know.
We'll leave it at that. Waylon, this is a family show. Okay.
That's why I said if you know, you know.
I do. And we'll leave it at the again, just like your fucking dad. So with that, I want to say you messaged me. You wanted to give out a lot of shout outs. You still got them by you?
Yes, I do.
Shout them out, dude. Go right ahead.
I'd like to give DJ Cooper a shout out. Marquise Beverage Company, The Violence Society, Boundary Pro Wrestling, my family and my lovely kids. I'd love to give Eric Hyde a shout out.
Thank you.
I'd love to give Biff Byford a shout out. And that is it.
Well, thank you for that. I appreciate that.
You're very welcome, Eric.
So before we leave, one last thing, Waylon. Not that one. What did I do? I picked the wrong picture. Anyways, I hate. Hold on. There we go. Remove him. Add this. There we go. Let's one last time talk about the Larry Jennings Fighting Spirit Open Invitational.
It is
Indiana, March 21st, 2026.
It is the second annual Larry Jennings Fighting Spirit Open Invitational. The Violence Society will be there, and I am just looking forward to blasting somebody in their face.
Tickets are still available 1 week from tonight. Show up, show Larry Jennings, Gavin Alexander some love and remembrance.
Bell time does open at 6:30. Bell at 7. Thank you. Have a great day.
Yep, it'll be great. And make sure you show up. Cheer on Waylon Alexander. Cuss him out as long as you do something. He knows he's done his job. So I'll say this, Waylon, man to man, thank you for giving me an hour of your time. I'm sorry it took so long to get this going. You know what I mean? We both had our ups and our downs over the past year and a half or so, but I'm glad we were able to do this. Show a little bit of love and remembrance to your dad. We told some good stories about him. Some good stories about who you've met in the business. Thank you for opening up on some personal stuff. You know, it does take a lot to do that. I know you are a private person, but I do appreciate that. And like I said, I meant what I said, that I'm proud that you know that you need to get some help and you're not afraid to do that. And I hope it works out for you. I really do.
I'll be calling you afterwards.
Okay. Well, when I end this, don't go anywhere because we'll still be face to face after I end the live stream. So we can still chat for a bit. So before that, any social media you want to throw out there?
My TikTok is Punk Rock Kid 03. My Facebook is Skylar Jennings. And that is it.
All right. And we'll end this very nicely with the wife. Awesome job. Proud of you. So with that, it went well. Thank you again, Waylon, for giving me an hour of your time just to shoot the shit, remember your dad, and talk some wrestling.
Yes, sir.
So thank you to everyone in the chat. Watch the replay if you can. Give a thumbs up and comment on it afterwards. It was my pleasure, Waylon. And
my pleasure as well.
This friendship will continue after this little get together. I know that for a fact.
Yes, sir.
So I am Eric. That is the Bluegrass Butcher, Waylon Alexander, and I will see you in the next live stream.